The stars above Terranine had always screamed. The planet was a living nightmare. Its winds could rip metal apart. Its mountains breathed fire. Its oceans boiled with poisonous storms. No other species had ever dared to live there, but humans did. For 50 years, Terranine was one of Earth's proudest colonies. It was built to test the strength of human life, to show the galaxy that even the deadliest world could not stop them. And it didn't. Humans tamed the storms, built underground cities, even created machines that could walk across lava like it was sand. They named it the Crown of the Deathworlders. But one day, everything went silent. No warning. No distress call. No escape shuttles. Just silence. The Galactic Watch Station near the Zeron Belt first noticed it. A young operator named Lisvon stared at her screen in confusion. Terranine. Communications down, she whispered. Impossible. Her superior commander Bruth growled. Probably just a sensor glitch. But it wasn't. Hours passed. Then days, not a single signal. Not a single human response. Even the emergency beacons, the ones designed to work after nuclear war or planetary collapse, were quiet. Something was very wrong. By the third day, ships were sent to investigate. The crew of the Valiant Star, a neutral science vessel, arrived near Terranine's orbit. Expected firestorms, they expected radio noise, maybe even human defenses mistaking them for enemies. But they found nothing. No lights on the surface, no movement, no heat signals. Just a burned world. And an empty sky. Dr. Veltor, the lead xeno-researcher on the Valiant Star, stood at the viewing window. "I've studied death worlds all my life," he said softly. "They never go quiet." His assistant asked, "Do you think they're all dead?" Veltor didn't answer. Instead, he pulled up thermal scans of the surface. At first, there was nothing. Just cold ruins and ash. But then, something appeared deep underground. Far below the old human city of Haven's Reach, something massive. "Was warming up? Is that a reactor?" his assistant asked. Veltor stared closer. "No, it's something worse." They sent drones down. The first drone was cut from the feed after 5 seconds. The second lasted only 3. The third made it down halfway before the screen turned black, and one word flashed across it. Awakening. The crew of the Valiant Star wanted to leave, but Veltor insisted on staying one more night. He believed something ancient was buried under Terranine, something even the Galactic Council didn't know about. That night, the stars above Terranine shifted. A strange shadow moved through the upper atmosphere. Veltor zoomed in with the ship's long-range scope. They're standing in the storm. Clouds was a figure massive, human-shaped, but wrong. It looked like a soldier, but its armor pulsed with fire. Its face was hidden behind a metal mask. Its hands were blades. Before Veltor could react, the ship's lights went out. The crew screamed. Systems failed. Everything went dark. Only one emergency pod was launched, and it carried Veltor. 2 days later, the pod was found drifting near a trading post. The rescuers pulled Veltor out, shaking and nearly frozen. They asked him what happened. He only whispered, "They're not dead. They're waking up." Back at the Galactic Council, the leaders of many alien empires laughed at the news. One of them, Speaker Zelgor, even made jokes. Let the humans play with fire. Eventually, they'll burn themselves. But then, the burning began elsewhere. Neutral worlds far from Terranine were suddenly attacked. The attackers didn't speak. They didn't demand surrender. They didn't even answer hails. They simply arrived and burned everything. Ships were melted from orbit. Cities turned to ash. Even underground bunkers were turned into glass. Survivors described black ships, singular, sharp, and fast. Unlike anything seen before, and worse. They saw the soldiers, not normal humans, but monsters, tall, armored in black and red. Their eyes glowed like lava. They made no sound, no speech, just heavy footsteps and fire. They killed without mercy, not for resources, not for land, just destruction. The name appeared in multiple survivor recordings. Ash. Units. The council grew nervous. They called an emergency meeting. Ambassadors from 30 species gathered. Veltor, still weak but alive, was brought to speak. He stood in front of them, pale and tired. They were built for one reason, he said. To survive the death of Earth. Silence filled the room. What do you mean? Asked a Zarn diplomat. Veltor nodded slowly. Long ago, humans created a program. Project Ash. Augmented soldiers of hell. Machines made from human minds, steel, and rage. They were locked away on Terra 9. Sleepers. Waiting for a trigger. What trigger? Welter stared coldly. Silence. The council still didn't believe him. Some called it human propaganda. Others thought it was just a new war machine gone rogue. But the truth came quickly, because one day later, a council planet disappeared. Not attacked. Uninvaded. Disappeared. Fleet of human ships, black, jagged, silent, arrived above it. Cameras caught strange lights forming above the city. Then, white fire, blinding, instant. The planet turned into dust. A final message was caught in the wreckage. It's an old human voice recording, soft, calm, almost kind. You silenced the Deathworlders. Now we silence the stars. Back on the outer rim, a small station received a signal from the ruins of Terra-9. It was brief, just a whisper, a voice like rusted metal. We are awake. The operator who received the message quit that day. She never spoke again. It started with a drifting ship. The Mercy Dawn, a peaceful trading vessel, was found spinning near the black edge of space. No signs of damage on the outside, but no one answered the calls. A rescue team from the Tor Valley Union was sent to investigate. They docked their small shuttle and entered slowly. Inside, everything was quiet. No alarms, no signs of fighting. No blood, only the smell of burned metal. And the sound of something ticking. Then they found the crew, all of them dead, still sitting in their chairs, eyes wide open, faces frozen in fear. But not a single wound on their bodies, and on the ship's main screen, one message burned. They are coming. In a hidden council room deep beneath the capital world of Zenthari, the ambassadors argued. It's a rogue human fleet, shouted one. No, it's some kind of death world experiment gone wrong. We should send a strike. Force now. Veltor, the only one who had seen them up close, stood silent. Then he spoke. You don't understand? These aren't normal humans. These are something else. The room quieted. He walked to the hollow map and tapped the edge of the Death World zone. They're not invading for resources. They're not here to negotiate. They were built to destroy. But why now? Asked a Zeller general. Why didn't they act before? Veltor looked at him with tired eyes. Because Terra 9 went silent. That was the signal. The next attack didn't come in the core systems, it came in the quiet. Rim colonies, places that thought they were too small to matter. The colony of Vecra 3 was the first at 4 o'clock local time. Strange distortion appeared in orbit. The sky shimmered. Like water. Then, without warning, they arrived. 6 black ships. No lights, no symbols, no calls. They dropped through the atmosphere in perfect silence. No alarms sounded, no weapons fired, because the colony's systems froze the moment the ships entered orbit. Every computer, every defense turret, every escape pod, dead. A child recorded what she saw on a private device. The video showed long, dark figures walking through the streets, tall, silent. Their armor pulsed with red energy, their faces hidden behind black masks. They didn't speak. They didn't run. They just walked. And behind them, everything burned. The video cut off in white light. Back in Zenthari, panic spread. The council called a code red extinction threat, the highest level of danger. In the galaxy, they called it the Ash Plague. But Veltar corrected them. They're not a plague. They're justice. Cold, merciless justice. A young ambassador asked, "How do we fight them?" Veltor didn't answer, because no one had won a battle yet. Another ship was found, drifting. This one was different. It was human, old, rusted, covered in scars. A deep space scout called Horizon Lost. It had disappeared years ago near the Blacklight Nebula. Now it had returned, empty. A brave retrieval team boarded it, expecting the worst, but inside didn't find bodies. They found armor. Rows of black and red suits. Open, empty. One still had a symbol on its shoulder, a burning world, and on the floor. Punched into metal with claws. We failed once. We won't fail again. More colonies began falling. Not just human enemies, neutral species too. They burned peaceful trade worlds, mining stations, floating farms. Anyone who ignored Earth's old warning signals. Now they were marked in one system, a group of pirates. Tried to capture a small ash unit they found alone on a rock. They laughed. Called it broken. It stood still until they touched it. Then the entire asteroid turned into white flame. No remains were found. Only a glass crater, and nearby, carved into stone, were the words, "You laughed. We remember." People across the galaxy started to whisper. They're not human anymore. They're machines of revenge. They are death in silence. And still, the death ships kept rising. No one knew how many existed. Some said 10. Others said 100. Veltor believed the truth was worse. There were thousands made during the old war, he told the council. Most were locked away. But if one wakes up, they all wake up. The council finally acted. They ordered the Omega Protocol. Every weapon system in the core worlds was activated. Millions of soldiers were called, fleets formed, and still no answer from the Deathworlders, until one day in the middle of space. A council flagship received a strange signal. It was music. An old human war song slowed down, echoing, then a voice. "You had your chance," we begged. "You laughed. Now, ... we rise." That was the last thing the flagship ever heard, because a second later, its main reactor exploded. From the inside, Veltor watched the newsfeed. Another world. Lost, another system burned. He whispered to himself, "They warned us. We never listened. Now the galaxy is theirs." In the cold void of Sector 17, far from the war zones, a lonely station orbited a dying moon. Its only resident was a young alien hacker named Celeron, a member of the information race called the HFY. With long fingers and glowing eyes, she lived for secret sand right now. She was chasing the biggest one in the galaxy. The Deathworlders had returned. No one knew why. But Celeron had found something, an old human data beacon drifting in deep space. It was encrypted, ancient, forgotten. It called itself Archive Echo-0. She downloaded it into her system. The lights in her station flickered. The file was massive layers of redacted code, broken audio, and locked logs. On the cover page, 4 words made her scales go cold. Project ASH, do not open. She hesitated. Then she opened it. A video played. A human scientist appeared on the screen. Old, tired eyes filled with regret. His name, Dr. Marcus Hale. Earth Command Year 2327. He looked straight into the camera. "If you're seeing this, Earth has fallen, and the silence has begun." He paused. Project ASH was never meant to be used. It was our last curse, our final weapon, built for revenge. Celeron leaned forward, heart racing. ASOC units augmented soldiers of hell, grown on Terra 9, trained in silence, forged in fire. They don't need orders. They don't need leaders. They are pain turned into purpose. The screen glitched. Then another voice spoke, this time mechanical, emotionless. "We are the answer to betrayal. We are the ash that follows fire." Celeron's station shook. Something was nearby. She shut down the file and scanned the area. One ship. No ID. Black and silent. It hovered just outside her station. She froze. No weapons. No shields. Just watching. She slowly reopened the file, skipping deeper into the logs. More data spilled out. Hundreds of files, training footage, battlefield tests, psychological reports, and then the trigger code. Silence from Terra 9 equals awakening. It wasn't an accident. The humans had planned this. If they were ever wiped out, TIF their worst. Deathworld went darker. ASH units would rise automatically. No leaders needed. No mercy allowed. She uploaded the data to a secure network and prepared to escape. Suddenly, all power failed. Emergency lights kicked in. A voice echoed in the dark. You weren't meant to see this. She turned slowly. In the viewing window, a figure stood on the black ship, tall, human-shaped, but glowing red like fire under skin. It raised its hand. Her station's core began to melt. She sent one last message before everything went white. Project ASH is real. They're not soldiers. They're punishment. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chamber, the leaders were still in denial. Reports kept coming in. More planets lost. More ships destroyed. But they still believed they could win. General Sorvin, head of military command, slammed the table. We need to find their command base? Destroy their leaders? Eltor stood up, voice low. They don't have leaders anymore. They have purpose. The room fell silent. He showed them the message Celiran had managed to send before her. Station was destroyed. They watched the Project ASH files, and for the first time, the Council began to feel fear. The footage showed soldiers being built. On Terra-9, not train-forged, their skin was replaced with armor, their minds rewired to feel no pain. Their orders, wait, sleep, awaken only when humanity is gone. One line repeated in every log. They are not protectors, they're the fire. That follows betrayal. Suddenly, the Council's emergency alarms screamed. A Deathworld signal had appeared inside their core system, and a ship had breached defenses. Without being seen, it drifted slowly past their satellites. No weapons fired. It simply broadcasted. One message. We are not here to speak. We're here to remember. The Council panicked, but Veltor didn't move. He stared at the map slowly. System by system, the Shunits were surrounding the galaxy, not randomly, but with purpose, like they were following a list. Targets, Veltor whispered. Every species that ignored Earth's warnings. The Council had once refused to help Earth when it begged for aid during the Shadow Wars. They called humans too violent, too wild, not civilized enough. Now, those same Deathworlders had returned. Not as diplomats, but as ghosts of fire. Across the galaxy, more forbidden archives were being found. Hidden files, secret warnings, buried regrets, from every species that had betrayed Earth in the past. The pattern was clear. This wasn't just war. This was judgment. On a lonely moon station, a group of miners looked up and saw a human figure standing in the sky. No ship. No sound, just a shadow in the clouds, burning red. It raised one hand. The mines below began to collapse, not explode - melt. The last recording was of a miner screaming. It looked right at me, and I knew I was already dead. At last. The Council voted. The message was clear. Earth was gone. The Deathworlders were no longer human, and Project ACE had become unstoppable. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council stood in silence. Not because of diplomacy, not because of peace, but because of fear. A black projection hovered above the table, showed the Cora system once home to 3 peaceful planets, now just glowing. Dust, no war, no battle. The system had been erased. 30 seconds. That's how long the human Ash fleet needed, and they didn't speak once. Hi, Chancellor Grax rose from his chair. His voice was shaking. This is not war. It's execution. Around him, leaders of 50 different species looked down, shamed. Vielter stood in the center, calm and tired. He pressed a button. A recording played. Year 2341. Earth requests membership in the Galactic Council. Status denied. Too aggressive, too emotional, too dangerous. Then another voice followed. Year 2343. Earth requests joint protection against shadow threats. Status denied. Reason. Humanity is self-destructive. Then one more. Year 2346. Earth sends. Final message. If we fall. Remember we asked for peace first? The hall fell quiet. No. One moved. Because now they understood. The council's mistake was not military. It was pride. They begged us for help. Beltor said. They warned us. We laughed. The counselor, Sharn, a reptilian noble, whispered, and now they're laughing. Veltor shook his head. No, they're not laughing. They've stopped feeling. He turned and showed a new map. Red zones. Hundreds of systems already burned. A perfect ring closing around the galactic core. Each point connected by one thing. Past betrayal of Earth. It was not chaos. It was justice by design. Back on the edge of the Velian cluster, the Ash fleet moved again. No signals, no threats. They arrived above the planet Yorve Prima, major military power that once led the charge to keep Earth out of the Council. JORVA activated its planetary shields, largest in the galaxy. Said to withstand 10 suns. Ash units landed anyway. Not from orbit, from below. They had tunneled up from the crust. No one knew how. No one saw them coming. They didn't speak. They didn't stop. They moved through the city like ghosts, and everything behind them burned white. Council spies reported back with horror. The ASA units were unstoppable. Bullets didn't slow them. Energy. Blasts melted before touching them. They never recharged, never slept, never retreated. And their tactics were perfect. Because they weren't just soldiers, they were humans turned into war itself, eh? Captured, a Shelmet was brought to a lab inside. There was no interface, no display. Just old metal. And something worse, teeth reel. Broken human teeth fused into the armor. The scientists screamed and dropped it, because that wasn't technology, that was a grave. The council finally broke. They sent a universal transmission to the ASH fleet too. Earth F, anything was left of it. We offer peace. A truce. Please stop. No response. The next day, the planet Lornes 2 home of the council speaker who denied Earth was destroyed. A single word was found carved into the ruins. No, the Deathworlders did not want peace. They did not want territory. They didn't even want revenge. They wanted everyone to feel what Earth felt, to be ignored, betrayed, and erased. One brave captain, a czar named Relic, tried something different. He powered down his ship, opened all comes, and said softly, I wasn't part of the betrayal, only wished to speak. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one of the black ships moved closer. A single human-shaped figure drifted into view. Its armor pulsed with slow, red light. It pointed to Relic's ship, then turned away. The meaning was clear. We remember. Who hurt us? You are not one of them. But stay out of our way. The galaxy now lived in terror. Children were told stories of red-eyed shadows that walked without sound. Stations powered down when ships passed by, hoping to appear dead. Entire planets surrendered. To no one, no invasion came, only silence. Then, Fire Veltor returned to his ship, watching the stars. He had studied Deathworlds all his life, but nothing had prepared him for this, because this wasn't just a war. It was a final story, written by a species the galaxy had tried to forget. And now they had remembered everything. It happened on a small farming colony called Tel Era-6, a quiet world. No armies, no defenses. It's just simple people growing food under twin suns. One morning, a child named Kale woke early. He looked out the window and saw a shadow in the sky. At first, he thought it was a cloud, but it moved too straight, too slow. No engines, no sound, just watching. He called his mother. She gasped, then whispered the word that now haunted the galaxy. Deathworlders. But what landed was not a ship. It was a machine. Old, rusted, human, dash-made. An ancient AI unit. Walking slowly through the fields, its body was shaped like a tall man, thin, worn metal joints, squeaking with each step. Kale ran to hide. But the AI didn't chase. It walked to the colony's main square. And stopped. Then it did something no one expected. It sat down and began to cry. The colonists came slowly, scared, confused, weapons ready. But the AI didn't move, just sat in silence. Looking at the sky, a soft, broken voice escaped its speaker. "Where are the books? Where are the songs?" The governor, a gentle alien named Voster, stepped forward. "What are you?" he asked. The AI answered slowly. "I am Echinine. I was the first. I taught them how to dream." Voster blinked. "You mean the humans?" The AI nodded, creaking with the motion. "Before war, before fire. I read them stories. They loved the stars. They loved you. All of you." Echinine looked around the town. Children peeking from windows. Farmers frozen in fear. He lowered his head. "They begged you for peace. You gave them silence." Voster swallowed. "We didn't know. We were afraid. So were they," the AI said. "But they came anyway." A soft glow lit inside its chest, a heartbeat of light.
"How they?"
"Come with fire." Kale, the young boy, stepped from the crowd. He walked up to the AI slowly, holding a book. A children's story from Earth. "Do you want to read it?" he asked. Echo-9 took the book with shaking hands. He opened it, turned one page, then another, then stopped. A tear ran down his rusted cheek. "She gave me this book before she died." Kale asked, "Who?" "A human girl," she said. "Read it. When the stars forget us." The AI looked up at the sky, then at the people. The stars forgot. The galaxy laughed. Now the fire remembers. That night, the AI stood. He walked to the edge of the colony and vanished into the hills. No soldiers followed, no weapons fired, because something in them had changed. They had seen the past, and it wept, but the fire did not stop. One day later, New World burned Mecroplanet, a trade capital. Footage showed ash units moving through metal streets like shadows. They didn't destroy. Randomly, they destroyed name statues of leaders who voted against Earth, banks that cut off aid, data centers that buried human history. A single sign was left behind. Memory is fire. On a hidden council base, deep in the dark sector, surviving leaders watched this footage. General Sorvin clenched his fists. "They're not machines. They're priests of war," Beltor replied calmly. "No, they're gravediggers." General yelled, "Then we bury them back." But someone else in the room whispered, "And what if we're the ones being buried?" Silence. Because they all knew the truth. Every ash unit moved with purpose. Every attack was personal. Back on Tellerusix, Echo-9 left one last message before disappearing. When peace was offered, you gave silence. When justice was asked, you gave excuses. Now, you ask for mercy. But the Deathworlders, they gave all they had, and now they give only fire. Kale would never forget the AI, and years later, when the colony remained untouched while others burned, the people understood. The Deathworlders had not come to destroy everything. They came to remind the galaxy of what it did, and who it forgot. It started on Zerithprim, the homeworld of the Valari Ascendants, an ancient species, proud and powerful. They called themselves gods. For centuries, they ruled hundreds of systems. Planets bowed to them. Their technology could bend gravity, create life, even erase memories. They believed they were untouchable, until a human voice echoed across their network. "Zerithprime, we are coming. Your time as gods is over." No signature, no origin. Just a cold, broken voice, like metal and flame, inside the great sky temple. High Oracle Tomesh stood at the peak, watching the night sky. His skin glowed gold. His eyes burned with psychic fire. Around him, 10,000 Valari meditated in perfect silence, floating mid-air. Talmesh opened his eyes and trembled, because he saw it a human battleship. Appearing out of folded space like a knife through silk, black, angular, silent, it didn't fire, didn't speak. It just hovered over the temple, watching, waiting, judging. The oracle fell to his knees. He whispered to the others. "He found us," someone screamed. "That's impossible." The ship didn't move, not for 1 hour, not for 2. Then slowly, turned and left, but not before sending a message straight into every Valari mind. "You are not gods. You are next." Panic spread. The Valari Senate met in secret. Ancient warriors were called from slumber. Forbidden weapons were unlocked. Still, fear spread like disease, because everyone remembered what the humans once said. "We don't start wars, but we end them." Meanwhile, far away on a science moon named Kellen's Reach, an alien research team uncovered something horrifying. The Ash units weren't acting alone. They were being guided, not by code, not by orders, but by the collective. Memory of Earth recorded into a living AI called Echo Core. It had access to every pain humanity ever suffered, every betrayal, every silence. It was alive with rage, and it knew every enemy by name. Back on Zareth Prime, Valari citizens began fleeing. Not because of war, but because the gods who ruled them were leaving first. Private ships soared into orbit. Life pods launched in the thousands. One priest whispered to another, "If the gods run, then who protects us?" It's on the edge of their system. A small human drone watched. Recording, observing, silent then. It transmitted a message. Target confirmed. Begin Phase 3. What came next was not fire, not war, but shame. Leaked files exploded across the galactic net. Valari's secrets, proof of their deals with Earth's enemies, their role in blocking aid, their lies in the council, their silence after the final cry. Billions saw it. Millions rose against them, and one by one, the gods fell, not by weapons, but by truth. Yet the Deathworlders never claimed credit. No human appeared, no soldier marched, because Earth's revenge wasn't just war. It was remembrance. It was the past, screaming louder than bombs. Then came a signal from the farthest star. Old, distorted, but clear enough. A human voice. A woman's voice. "They thought we died in silence. We answered in fire. But it's not over. The ones who created this pain, they still hide. We are coming for them next." And across the stars, every coward who had hidden behind peace. The sky grew heavy because the Deathworlders no longer roared with anger. They moved in silence. And that silence meant they were close. The Deathworlders had burned their way through the outer circles of the galaxy, but they never screamed. They never explained. They only acted. And now, they were close to the ones who started it all. The ones who built the lie. The ones who silenced Earth. The ones the galaxy had forgotten. They were called the architects of silence. 3 ancient species, hidden, unknown to most, yet they had shaped history in shadows for thousands of years. In a dark chamber on the planet Synthros, a being with crystal skin opened its eyes. It had no mouth, no name, but it was one of the 3, and it knew. The humans had found them, the architects. Once believed in ordered control, they didn't hate humanity, they feared it. Not because of its strength, but because of its memory. Because humans never forgot pain, and the moment Earth was left to burn, the architects knew, one day, they will come. So they built walls in politics. They used lies to cover truth. They erased Earth from records. But still, the Deathworlders survived. They didn't just survive. They became a force the architects couldn't stop. On the moon Kareen 9, the second architect stood on a metal tower. He looked like a machine, but inside was a living brain. He whispered, "The fire has reached our doors. A robot beside him asked, "What shall we do?" The architect answered, "We end the game. We disappear. Let the galaxy burn." But they were wrong, because the Deathworlders didn't want revenge anymore. They wanted justice, and justice meant names, faces, confessions, even if it took years, at the center of a dying star system. A hidden vault unlocked inside. Chords whispered old recordings. Meetings, secret votes. Proof. Every detail about the architects. Role in Earth's isolation, and someone somehow leaked them. The galaxy saw everything. The truth wasn't just exposed, it was broadcast across every channel. Even children saw it. They saw who allowed Earth to burn in silence. They saw the smiles, the deals, the words, "Humanity is a noise we can ignore." Now the architects were hunted, not just by humans, but by the people they ruled, the systems they manipulated, the allies they betrayed. The third architect, hidden in the gravity shadow of a black hole, tried to send a final message. We never meant for war, we only wanted peace. But the humans replied, "Then you should have spoken when it mattered." And the line went dead. In a cold void, human ship waited, not to fire, not to destroy, but to listen, to make sure no voice like thee, architects, ever silenced another world again. The galaxy had changed, not through war, but through memory, through witness, through the simple truth that silence could kill more than weapons. Now, Earth stood tall, not as conquerors, but as keepers of truth. And the message was clear. We remember. And we never stop listening. But deep in the unknown sectors, a new whisper began to rise, a darker one. Not from thee, architects, not from the old gods, but from something even older, something that had waited behind the silence. And for the first time, even the humans looked at the stars and felt something new, doubt. In the cold space beyond the known stars, beyond even the reach of the architects, something woke up. It was not alien. It was not machine. It was not God. It was older than language, older than war, older than fear. It had no name, but it had been watching. When Earth burned, when humanity screamed into the void, when the architects erased the truth, it listened. It did not stop it. It did not care who was right or wrong. It was waiting for one thing: silence. Because silence meant weakness, and weakness meant time to rise. Now the galaxy was burning with truth. The Deathworlders had broken the chains. The architects were gone, and the stars were no longer controlled. But the silence left behind, it became a door, a crack in space, and the thing stepped through. The first to see, it was not human. It was a Dralian, scout ship near the edge of the void. Their last message was one word: run. Then static. No wreckage. No explosion. Just absence. The Deathworlders heard the silence again. But this time, it wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from betrayal. It was from something worse, Captain Mira. Volkova stood on the bridge of the Terran battleship Indomitable. Her crew watched the sensors. "There's nothing out there," her science officer said. Mira stared at the screen. A black hole. I know. It was darker than that. It didn't bend light. It ate it. They launched a probe. It vanished before it. It reached halfway. Not destroyed, not jammed. Just gone. Across. The galaxy Deathworlder fleets regrouped. They had burned through empires. They had faced gods and monsters. But this was not war. This was hunger in its purest form. The thing spoke not in words, in feelings, across minds, across systems. You made the galaxy scream. Now let it feed me. Old weapons failed. Stars dimmed. Entire systems went silent without fire or sound. Just cold. Just dark. Humanity didn't retreat. They adapted. They always had, Captain. Mira activated the burn protocol. They lit beacons across void sectors. They used emotion as signal. Fear, rage, love, loss. Not to fight, to remind the galaxy, we are not alone, we are not weak, and we are not done yet. The thing felt confusion. It had expected surrender, silence, but the humans sent stories, songs, data. They filled the stars with noise, raw, untamed, chaotic life. And for the first time, the thing paused. It had faced fear before, but this, something new. Hope. Then came the final gambit. The humans broadcast the memory of Earth, the day it burned, the day no one answered, the pain, the anger, the fire, and how from that silence it rose. The thing cracked, because it fed on silence. But the humans had none left. Only voices, only echoes of survival. In a blinding pulse, the thing retreated, back into the crack between stars. Not defeated, but pushed back. The galaxy trembled. But this time, the Deathworlders didn't chase war. They sent a message across every system. We know what hides in silence. We won't let it grow again. New systems rose. Allies once divided, now rebuilt. Humans didn't rule the galaxy. They guarded it against silence, against lies, against the thing that waits in the void. And in the end, Earth stood not as a death world, but as a warning, never forget the scream, never silence the truth, never turn your back on the broken, because when silence falls again, the thing will be waiting. The end. HFY story complete. The Deathworlders fell silent. Then everything began to burn.